Well, I mean, the treatment pathway that I described is a human rights abuse, and it will be recognised as that in the future. I think it'll be very like eugenics, which were regarded as very progressive. You know, people who thought very highly of themselves and their ethics and morals, thought that they were helping to create a better humanity with the eugenics program. And the word was a word that, it made you sound good. And now we look back with horror and we recognise it as having been a human rights abuse. And the word is now a painful word to use, Well, it's going to be like that with affirmation. This is a human rights abuse. Doing this to children is a human rights abuse. I would say puberty. Going through normal puberty to adulthood is a human right. It's your right when you're born to be allowed to progress along the normal path of development. So she's committing a human rights abuse by what she does in her clinic. How come a human rights organisation is lauding her for this? And I think it's, and this is, before I was a journalist, I was a mathematician, and I spent 11 years between my first degree and the various, my PhD and my postdocs, long time to then change course, which I did. But that 11 years, if it taught me anything, it taught me that when you have a complex system, a complex interlinked system like mathematics, but also like laws, if you break it in one place, that error cascades through the whole system. And the break here is saying that it is a human right to identify your sex, rather than just a given. And from that error, propagating errors have come out right through the human rights framework, with the result that people who say they're defending human rights are actually acting against human rights. And that is why I think we see somebody whose job it is to stand up for human rights, praising somebody who's actually harming human rights. It's turned the organisation back to front, and now it's working in the opposite direction to the way it's meant to work.
So we have a Human Rights Commission that's working against human rights, and we have a sex discrimination commissioner who says the sexes don't exist. So why does the commission exist?
I mean, I guess she would say, women in all their diversity, or, that's one of those code words. Women in all their diversity means and men. It means both types of humans, but the ones who say they're women. I can't get my head around it still, because, if it isn't your biology that makes you a woman, what is it? Well, the next thing it probably is stereotypes. So if a man is performing woman-y stereotypes, does that make him a woman? Well, what about a woman then who isn't performing woman-y stereotypes? I have a PhD in mathematics. Does that make me not a woman, Straight away you see the illogicality of it, but somehow they've got themselves lost in this upside down, back to front, circular sort of mess. And they think they're being, another code word, inclusive. In this framework, it's always good to be inclusive. But definitions aren't inclusive. Definitions are about what's outside and what's inside the group. So yes, a women's commissioner, why would you have a women's commissioner at all if both sexes could be women? You'd just have a humans commissioner.